Welcome to the Pure 21 podcast. I'm really, really pumped up about this one because it is something that I'm horrible about. We are here with Kayla, our dietitian, to talk about portion control. Kayla, thanks again for joining us today. How are you?
You're so welcome. I'm excited to be here and excited to talk about this. As you said, the daily reminder is necessary on this topic. So
maybe for me every time I eat.
Yes.
Anyways, tell us a little bit about yourself for our listeners that don't know you.
Yeah, so I'm a registered dietitian here in Cincinnati, Ohio, but also kind of out in the world beyond that. And I work specifically with, weight management, weight control, as well as physical activity and fitness. So.
And you've been helping us since we launched Pure 21. You've been weighing in. You weigh in on the Facebook pages. Yep. You're always there to answer our question, which we totally appreciate.
Yes,
so thank you. Okay, let's get right into it. Let's start off. Why is it important to have portion control on the challenge and when you in your current lifestyle?
Right, absolutely. So we eat almost what we serve ourselves. I mean, the Clean Plate Club is something that we can laugh about, and we all know that term because we've been taught and conditioned. You eat what is on your plate. We don't waste. And
ever since you were little.
And so we kind of lose sight of that, and it, controlling portions can obviously prevent overeating. So, from the get-go, I think that that's a principle that, we should relearn ourselves, as well as, maybe those in our family, and obviously a very healthy and positive spin.
Love it. Okay. What are the recommendations during the Pure 21 challenge when it comes to portion control? Like how much of a protein, how much of a veggie?
Right, yeah, absolutely. So 3 to 6 ounces of protein. Again, this depends on, your...
And how do you know, that's great to say, but if you're eyeing it, what do you look for?
I look for about the size of my palm.
Okay.
Or if you make a fist, that's kind of, again, that good idea.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I haven't heard that.
Of thickness. Some people would say like a mouse, a computer mouse.
Okay.
Or a deck of cards. I don't know if anyone uses mice anymore. Mouses.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. So that's a good little for the 3 to 6 ounces.
Exactly.
Okay, what about veggies, fruit?
Yeah, about a cup. So what that looks like, again, you could do the fist, but a little bit more than that. For non-starchy vegetables, I say 3 cups or more. You can really just load up on those. So don't, feel like you're in a confined space with those.
Okay, what about, so I'm huge on something crunchy, especially during the challenge. One of the things that I had was I love almonds, but the portion control in the almonds is important, right?
Yes. So those would, technically fall into our fat category. And for fats, we usually say about 1 thumb or 1 tablespoon.
Oh, brother. Okay.
1 to 2 thumbs.
Got it.
Or, with almonds, if it's a pretty hearty snack, you could go about to a fourth a cup or so.
Okay.
So,
got it.
Whatever you can kind of reasonably fit in your palm.
So, example, a scoop of peanut butter, like a tablespoon, will be good for with your apple.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
A good thumb there.
Okay. One common tip to help with portion control that people say is the smaller plates, smaller glasses, especially when it comes to wine. Not on the challenge. So how does this help?
Yeah, so there's been lots of studies done that people actually eat less when they are consuming from plates that are smaller. It makes the portions appear a little bit larger, and it can, really, take down the urge to necessarily clean your plate the same way. So essentially, when we are serving ourselves from these larger plates, we can always go back if you're hungry, but we need to slow down because the more time that it takes for our stomach to tell our brain, hey, I'm full, you don't need any more, then we can actually
well, and everyone knows, when you're walking into the restaurant, you picture, there are just some restaurants that are infamous, are just known for, I shouldn't say infamous, that's negative, for the big plates with especially Italian ones with all the pasta.
All the pasta. And then it's kind of funny because then you go somewhere else and you're like, wow, the portions were really small there. And it's no, they were just probably reasonable.
Exactly. Yes.
So definitely, make your food pure, as the centerpiece of the plate, and it, smaller plates do go a long way. Some individuals will also even eat with smaller utensils.
Okay.
And then that allows
interesting.
them to slow down and then kind of enjoy the meal for longer. If it takes more times to, spoon to plate to mouth, it
got it. That's a good tip too.
Increase that. Yeah.
Okay, our producer put in this awesome study I really want to talk about. People using a large bowl ate 77% more pasta than those using the medium-sized bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that...
I think the same probably goes for pasta, cereal. I mean, you ask someone to measure out what a serving size of cereal is, and they pour like a whole mixing bowl. It's like, that's half the box, which
right.
I would love.
Especially if it's sugary, and then you just want more.
But it's wild. That's staggering.
Okay, so tips when you're eating out on the portion size.
So what I found, and a lot of restaurants don't necessarily broadcast this, is that even if you're there for dinner, they have lunch portions of most entrees.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Asking for that, asking if they don't have that, asking for a half portion, or splitting a dish with someone else that you're with, or even boxing up half of it or whatever else you need for later on, before you even get the dish. It can, again, any stop points you can kind of create for yourself before it even reaches to you is really important. So splitting your food, or, sometimes I will say when I go to somewhere like a tapas restaurant and there's lots of food coming out in waves, I lose track of how much I've really eaten. So, if it's a tapas restaurant, maybe ask if all the food can come together, and
Good
then
idea.
you can serve yourself from those plates. And really actually...
Especially if it's a longer dinner, too.
Yeah. I mean, by that point, you're like, have we had 3 courses?
Especially like if it's a work thing and you don't want to be rude, you're like, I can't really leave.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, easy tips for portion control and to kind of to scale back a little bit. We're going,
So one thing that I've done recently, and I think, we've got our water right near us, is drinking a little bit of water or a beverage before your meal, 30 minutes before, or even before you ask for the wine. Try to finish, later on before you ask for the wine.
Besides hydration, what else does that do?
So that also, fluids take up volume in our stomach, so it creates that sense of fullness. It can also help us, again, slow down over the meal for our brain to register that we are full. So it's hydration. It's, again, confusing hunger and thirst sometimes. We're eliminating that chance of error.
I love it. Okay. Now, this is something, especially if you're single and don't eat from the container, right? Always get your small plate, create your portion, and then enjoy it.
Go from there. Yeah. I would even say that some, for snacks, for things like that, but also for dinners, we've talked on this, but you have a serving plate and you have an eating plate. So you can, maybe you think that you give yourself the opportunity to go back to that serving plate, but eat from a different plate, eat from, not the packages. And if you need to measure out like dressings and additions and things like that, please do that too.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. And portion control when you're putting snacks, when you're getting snacks together for work, or it's important.
It's so important.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's awesome that the snacks are healthy, but if you're eating too much.
Right. It kind of creates that health halo. So I've actually had some individuals use a food scale. And again, I don't think anyone has to be obsessive about it and measure out and weigh out every single thing. But, you can get a little loose-handed with the tablespoon or the cup measure. And so it's a different quantity sometimes if you actually measure it in grams versus the serving size of the measuring cup or spoon too.
And they actually have the food scales, right? Do you suggest those at all?
I mean, definitely. I think, I also like it for baking because it's more exact. So I, can justify it from several fronts. But when I'm measuring out, ground beef at home or chicken, I don't know what 3 ounces or 50 grams looks like. So, utilize that for even a couple of days of the week. And I think it goes a long way.
Okay, 100%. What about, last question here, meal prepping? How important is that if you really want to be in a healthy lifestyle and continue this, to be prepared? And how do you do it?
So I think convenience is key with that. And if you have those meals that are in your fridge and ready, or freezer even, I don't want to make up percentages, but you're probably 50 to 75% less likely to order takeout or go to a restaurant.
Right.
So How I do it is I like to think way ahead of time, way before the weekend even hits. So on Thursday, I usually do a grocery order.
Okay.
Or at least I get my grocery list ready. And there's so many smart apps and devices nowadays that like it remembers what you ordered last week. And it's like, oh yeah, don't forget the grapes, or, make sure you get the cucumber again.
Love it.
So I love grocery ordering, and a lot of places are, doing it for fairly, reasonable prices.
Yeah.
And I try to make my fridge look like a buffet. So I've got, some healthy grains prepped. I've got my veggies chopped.
Okay, so like what healthy grains do you prep?
Yeah, so I will do, a brown rice, or even like some chickpea pasta I really like. So I've got some of those ready to go. You can just heat up or dump in a crock pot or the Instant Pot for the night of the meal.
Love that.
And then I like to make, kind of like one dish, like maybe tacos, and then I'll repurpose that several ways.
Yeah.
Dump it into a soup later, or use the protein as a salad topper.
Yeah.
So, kind of that cross utilization really makes the most sense for me.
Excellent advice. Okay. Anything else we're missing on portion control and why it's important?
Man, I think we covered it all. I feel like we're experts now, but I think
thanks to you.
I think what I tell people is that get probably more snacks or more of those like vegetables, like those healthier bridges in between your meals than you think you might need. If you run out by Tuesday, you're like, oh, I'm gonna lean into some of that, and we could all benefit from more vegetables,
right?
And
100% on me for sure.
So
okay, one more question: how do you spice up the vegetable game?
Yeah, so I think realizing like the way that they come to you in the package is one thing, but think about it. Could you easily shred up the carrots and make them into an easy slaw, or a quick like spritz of some canola oil spray and roast them really quickly, or put some seasoning on them to make them taste similar to popcorn or something like that. So masking not only like the look but the flavor profile, I think will not trick yourself, but give you a little bit of a different sensation.
I love it. Okay, Kayla, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I love the fist. Yes. I love the thumb.
Get your fists, thumbs. Keep them to yourselves, but
we will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.